might almost include Na'Vi in the mix there. I think this is going to be very close. Na'Vi are a very good Inferno team.
It is true, but Fnatic unfortunately swept them aside.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we talked about it yesterday when we were looking at the groups, talking about how it's going to work out. We're about to get underway here, Demon.
Yeah, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise. We are about to start the first match of the day. EnVyUs set up on stage to your left, and Na'Vi on the right-hand side. Can Guardian and co bring this one home for the Ukrainians? We are live, and here we go. So, straight away, pistols, let's get it underway.
Yeah, right now we've got just a single smoke grenade on NBK, which it could end up being a B push as a result. That smoke into CT spawn and you just push on through. Guardian gonna walk right into the middle, see if he can get a kill early on, but actually ends up in apartments instead. Doesn't spot anyone middle. And Edward's also over there. So right now, 3 people on A, and over at Banana, look at this, seized. Ends up falling back, but he almost takes that fight, and that's a very scary fight. If he goes down, that's a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's wanting to gather information. The fact that they don't have that kit, it forces them to check for some early info just to see where they're going so they can play for an early retake or just challenge them out flat right.
This triple stack in apartments is about to back away, so Seized is all alone over on B site right now. Flamey's made the rotation, he's over in library, now he's going to get a spot. He manages to find the first head though, Kiyoshima going down. Kenny S is following, he's got the bomb in hand, so if Seized can manage to catch him, now he realizes it, the rotation's coming, but Seized has got to hold them at bay for a long time on site.
Oh, very smart play here, trying to buy time. He hits another headshot on Apex, and that's going to be a double here for the Russian player, looking for a bit more, almost out of bullets. Hits a third one, trying mid-air, but Kenny will drop him, and it's going to be a 2v4 now. And with the follow-up headshot from Guardian, Happy's gone down, Kenny alone, and Guardian seals the round. Na'Vi take the first pistol here at the quarterfinals.
And you're just seeing the confidence out of Na'Vi as well. Just the fact that you can push Seized out of Banana, get the early kill, fall back, pick up 2 more off the back of that. Fantastic job by that man. And you saw EnVyUs, they tried to get into the site with that smoke, but unfortunately, when the time came, they couldn't hit the shots, and that's going to be a good start here for Na'Vi.
Just the exact start they wanted on the CT side. You've got to look at their stats. You were talking about how Na'Vi are a great team in here, but if you look at the map pool, you'd be thinking EnVyUs on Inferno, Na'Vi on Mirage, Dust 2. Well, you've got to maybe look towards Envy, but that's a long way to go. Second round is a big deal. We've seen many of these turn on their heads, and you can see all the Tech 9s in the hands of EnVyUs. They are ready to try and burst out around apartments and into mid.
This is one of the traditional strengths of this NV team. It's almost like they built the team around being supremely good with pistols, and especially these Tech 9, CSET 75, and MBK with the odd deagle here. Usually it's actually Kiyoshima that picks it up, but I guess maybe it's just what he's feeling right now. Zeus up on the canopy with the FAMAS ready and waiting, and Guardian playing over by Archway. So right now, very passive setup for Na'Vi, and that's a great idea. Don't want to give anything away for free for Envy, and it's going to be the opening frag here for Na'Vi. Looks like the B-bomb side, though, is going to be where the action is going to fly off any second.
Second smoke goes down. That's going to buy them another 15 seconds. Na'Vi holding out on this B site. You can see stacked up in Banana. EnVyUs ready to try and burst through, but there's now only 3 members in there. The rotation coming already. Guardian's going to be in position for this one. He gets just around the side. Kyo, Apex, and Kenny, they're going to try and come around the corner, but Flamey is in a perfect spot. Tries to get the little spray down, catches a glimpse of 2 of them. It will be annihilation. And Na'Vi simply holding out, not losing a single man, and really barely taking any damage at all throughout that round.
Yeah, importantly, not losing a single man when they had 3 MP7s up against the pistols and the head armor. But that Molotov at the end really split up EnVyUs. They weren't able to get into the site and overwhelm you like they would need to with a pistol armor kind of buy. And now it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Na'Vi.
And it goes slightly against the way that Envy normally like to play, not just in these kind of pistol armor rounds, but generally speaking, they're an incredibly fast team on the terrorist side of almost any map, but especially Inferno. Once they engage, they sort of stay engaged. This time, it looked a little bit more slow-paced, and that's definitely not the style I want to see. I want to see a really fast Envy in this whole quarterfinals.
Kiyoshima picking up a kill there. An important one, only the 2nd kill of the game as well, by the way, here in round 3. Kyo finally getting on the board. Re-smoke down's going to slow MBK down in the middle, but it's Banana once again, but Guardian is just slowing them in their tracks. This is just a pistol for Envy. They're just trying to get what they can, and that opener may well help them. They're going to try and 4-stack out. Zeus is going to have to retreat. He's got Edward with him in support. Guardian trying to hold the angle at Arches. Archer's going to get overwhelmed. MBK and Apex are through. They're going to try and push them around now. Seized is making the rotate over at Speedway. Apex is actually with the bomb. He's going to get around the back of him. I think he might pass on by, but sees this hold himself a perfect position. This should be clean up, and that's the bomb loose. And NBK, the last man standing, with it all to do in just 18 health.
And if you look at the change here as Seas takes down NBK, I mean, Jason, there was a lot more speed in this round for Envy.
There was, and they're trying to pick up the pace, considering they can't really afford to take a lot of chip damage when they only had the pistol by it. They had no armor to work with, trying to gather some information, and most importantly, they're trying to let Happy use that position, that lurking role, to really catch him off guard and provide some sort of insight and some sort of entry into these sites. But Apex, he's the man you're going to have to look for. Kenyas, unfortunately, not going to be off this time, but Guardian, he already has his, and you can see a big stack towards B already.
See where they go. Guardian's going to get that early peek, but this time EnVyUs are not looking that way, so he's not going to be finding any free shots down that way unless Kenny decides to take another peek back. It is AKs, as you mentioned. A decent spread of utility for EnVyUs. Smokes and flashes, but they're yet to really get an impactful opener, and Guardian doesn't manage to land that shot. Now they're going to realize that Guardian, okay, Orb is over in Banana. Let's try and put some pressure over on A site.
That felt like maybe that should have been a shot. Very aggressive move there from Navi, but they still keep 2 over on Banana at the moment, which means that A bomb side is going to be a little bit weaker. If Envy realize, they might try and just exploit that. And just as I'm saying it, Flamey ends up being left alone here on Banana. So now it's a 4v1. Flamey going to try and fall back just a tiny bit, down to 40 health as well. Envy, they've still got 3 smokes left, means they can do whatever they feel at the moment, and about 40 seconds. And on Flamey, and this is important, he's got that one Molotov. He's going to be able to buy time. He puts it up just as they're around the corner. So now they have to wait for that. And in the meantime, Seas is going to come in. Good setup here for Navi.
NBK is going to be the first around the corner. Flamey not going to find him. NBK manages to burst in sight, and Apex breaks open B site. The bomb plant will come down. Kenny S will set that one up. And finally, Envy managed to get impactful and take over one of the sites. The retake from Navi will be very tough now. Zeus is going to go Banana, Edward, Guardian, both from CT Spawn, and Kiyoshima already set up ready for this.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. I mean, as soon as Flamey goes down, you got to wonder if it's worth it for Seas to try and push through the smoke. If you still have someone left alive inside the bomb site, you can try and help them out, but afterwards, you can be sure Envy were going to be ready for that one. And now all they're looking for is exit frags here on the Navi team, and see if they're going to get any. But what do you think about this round, Jason? That was first round for Envy.
It's such an aggressive hold on a Navi to put Guardian there on Banana, not to mention not having a smoke at the bottom of B. You know, typically when you see teams get aggressive towards Banana, they get the bottom of the smoke, and they push 2 people up there initially for the initial hold, then they fall one guy back, and the other man sits there and just waits, and they keep re-smoking it over and over and over again. But I think Navi are just trying to come out strong, just really put the pressure onto EnVyUs, limit how much of the map that they can really work with, but great entries out of NBK and Apex there.
Exactly what they needed. Let's see how if they can carry through that momentum and start getting themselves a couple of rounds on the board. Flamey and Seas going fairly aggressive down Banana. They're going to find Apex and Kenny early on, but they're not going to catch them through those grenades. And now Seas all on his own. He's got to tuck himself in as NBK starts to come forward. Now NBK has the bomb in hand. This is risky play, and that's actually the bomb separated through that smoke. The spray down almost catching on to Kiyoshima. He gets himself a double lineup. Apex goes down. Seas is going huge, and the rest of Navi back him up. Happy left all alone for Envy and Banana.
What a turn of events, and that's the final shot to make the quad kill, and that's a huge round from Navi. And I think you're absolutely right, pushing through with the bomb there, that's almost, you know, you're going all in at that point. If the bomb goes down behind the smoke, there's almost no chance you're going to recover it. It's going to put us into the 6th round here.
The thing is that Molotov coming out of EnVyUs was perfect. It pretty much separated Flamey from the rest of his team, and they picked up an easy kill. But then Seas, you can't expect a man to do like that every single time. And Lockheed on picking up 4 kills, and they just struggled to get into that site with that smoke being placed as well.
Guardian starting to get a little bit of confidence here, starting to get a good peek straight down mid open. We saw JW starting to get the aggression of that over on the first day of the tournament. Apex does get himself an opener though. That's Edward going down in apartments, and now that means Guardian and Zeus have to fall back on A site, back in towards Pit and slow things down. The rotation's not really coming. It's very slow because Envy are just bursting straight through on site.
Zeus here in the pit, gonna spray down one, but he's out of bullets, tries to put out that pistol, not gonna be in time, and in archway, Seas is gonna go down, and look at the speed. Once they engage, they just don't stop. They keep going all the way through Envy, and that's the style that they need. They weren't doing it in that one pistol force-up that they had, and they've caught up since, and that's going to be what Na'Vi need to deal with. They need to find an answer to this, because otherwise, Envy are going to keep doing it. I
think the way we described them back into Extreme Masters at Gamescom is that they come at you like a wave. They come at you with basically all 5, and they don't stop until you kill them, and that's just a perfect example of exactly why we called them that. And again, you know, we've seen EnVyUs go B every single round, bar one, where we were pretty much full save, where they try to go through Arch to get towards B, and they finally switch things up. They finally commit to the A site, and I think they catch Na'Vi off guard and get themselves another round on the board.
So Flamey, the only man to stay alive with his rifle. The rest of the team really able to just about buy up a few weapons. You can see Season, Edward, they have the cash, but not really anybody else. The timeout was called, and you can see the guys on your screen there. It was, I believe, a technical pause rather than a tactical
It has
one.
to be. It has to be, because, I mean, they're winning 4-2, and that was fine to switch up, but there's not really much they have to talk about according to that.
Bit of a rough start for Edward in this game. 0-2, it's not really the end of the world, but he's someone that Na'Vi look to, and especially on this map. Edward has a really uncanny ability to go completely mad on Inferno. I will be disappointed if he ends up with anything less than 20 frags in this particular map. I think he has to hit at least 20 and be heading for even more.
Just the problem that they haven't gone A too much. He hasn't had the opportunity to pick up so many kills yet. I mean, maybe if they keep coming there, he'll finally be able to really do that. But again, it might just come down to C's just having a phenomenal game so far in the opening game of the quarterfinal.
And you guys, of course, in the crowd, ready and waiting for this one. We all have to wait for these pauses from these players and just figure out exactly what they're going to do. You can see Zeus giving out the commands to his team. Such a big moment for both of these teams. Can they reach the semi-finals? Of course, the following matchup to this one, TSM and Kingwin await. They're going to be the winners of this match. But at 4-2, Na'Vi still holding the lead. They are able to force themselves some sort of a buy. Zeus, you can see, just on the CZ.
Yeah, not too impressive. You can still get a lot out of it. Early smoke at top Banana just to make sure that no one's going to come charging through, and a couple of Molotovs on Envy means they can clear out almost everything that's behind the smoke if they need to. Flamey, very aggressive, and right behind him is going to be Seized. And this combination over here is incredible. Seized is like a specialty player when it comes to the B-bomb site, and there are a couple of them on Virtus Pro, it'd be Neo. So you can just go through all the teams. You always find that there's a couple of people that are very good at playing B. Takes a special kind of timing. Oh, look at this. NBK shot right at the edge of the smoke. Flamey tries to re-smoke. Envy are not going to wait. There comes the Molotov, and oh, they will fall back. Flamey should be able to hear this. Na'Vi should know that this is going to be an A push.
Well, Zeus is actually... Oh, he thought about rotating, but look at Edward. He's on tiny, tiny balcony, Anders. He's ready and waiting to pounce. But there's only going to be 2 members here. Edward gets 1, gets 2, tries to get the spray down on the 3rd, but Kenny S will reply. Now Guardian and Zeus pushing around the side. Guardian lands the first shot. Can he get the second as Zeus tucks himself into sight? It's just a 2-on-2, but Zeus finds it with the CZ. And now Happy, the only man standing, will get eliminated by Guardian. And Na'Vi holds strong with a forced buy.
They didn't commit to that rotate as well. They just stuck to their guns and stacked at that A site. But you can see Happy's finally learned how they're playing the B site. It's just really weird to see, though, Anders. The fact that you have some teams on CT side Inferno, they either smoked on the bomb banana or they played towards site. But they're playing like a little bit in between and changing things up ever so often just to catch out EnVyUs constantly.
Well, let's imagine that Flamey hadn't been there, that he'd been holding further back. He wouldn't have been able to know that they hadn't already come through the smoke. They would have just known that Cease was dead and that was it. So the fact that Flamey was also there gave them so much information to work off of, and they made the right call. Na'Vi, really solid round from them. Now it's down to 2 AKs, 3 Tech-9s, armor, and a bunch of grenades here on the Envy team. Let's see if they can execute. It looks like they might try and go somewhat aggressive in apartments. In fact, they're going to try and run through the smoke. Edward's going to be ready, but the flashbang's in. He can't see a thing, but Guardian, I think that was a mid-air shot on Kiyoshima, and there's Edward, sees to follow it up. Apex replying, but it's still a 2v3. Back into a 2v2. If they turn this around, Envy, that's going to be a huge blow to Na'Vi. They don't have that much money yet, and they need to keep winning these rounds. Envy, I don't think they need that many rounds on the terrorist side. If they give up more than 5 or 6 here in the beginning, it's going to be a big problem.
Guardian's going to try and come around from quad. Kenny on site, Apex and Pit, and Flamey just waiting for that smoke to clear. Now Apex would have got a little glimpse of Guardian there, and Kenny got a cheeky peek as well. They didn't need 2 of them to peek there. It was a little too aggressive, I feel. Orp still rattling on through. Flamey's going to push on through, but Kenny's found him, and now it's all on Guardian. Will he try and hold the Orp? He gets the shot onto Apex. Is he going to try and go huge here? Kenny S on site, straight in his face. Doesn't hit the no-scope. Doesn't hit the pistol. Oh, for the die! Kenny S! Would you believe it? The balls on that man to go for that play and make it 5-3 Na'Vi.
Oh God, dear Lord, that was phenomenal. Kenny S picking up so many kills in that round, especially with that AK. But I really got to give him credit though. That double peek towards short though, they had long towards library smoked off, so they can afford to both go for it, maybe pull off the trade and turn it into a 1v1. But Kenny really stepped it up, and most importantly, they rescued the op for Happy, and he's gonna finally have this gun.
Well, that's going to put Na'Vi back in a situation where all they have is Zeus with armor and everyone else on regular pistols. Not even a single pop flash to try and really set anything up, which is a very common thing outside of that B bomb site. Envy, again, aggressive, fast, inside the bomb site. Good shot from C's, but Apex with a double reply, and that pretty much seals the round.
Yeah, Guardian, Zeus, Edward all just trying to get a little spray through the smoke. Hope that they get lucky with a couple of shots, but this is surely Envy's round tied up. Apex makes it a triple. And this is very much going their way. So, Envy's finally getting their groove on the T side here. Na'Vi, of course, on the eco, but forced down to it. They can buy up in the next round. What is it they've figured out here? Because it's been a double A side hit. Obviously, you can't really count this as a full B side hit, but they definitely seem to have sussed out positioning that Na'Vi have been holding.
I think they just want to match the aggression against Na'Vi, pushing towards B like that. I mean, yeah, they know they're on an eco, but again, typically you'll see teams play really slow and passive on that kind of round. You don't want to lose too many guns. You want to get a stable economy, especially since EnVyUs hasn't been able to invest themselves into the lucky picking up in the round before. But, you know, Cadian and Sam, they're both talked around the desk with Apex. He doesn't just normally pick up a 1-for-1 trade and, you know, kind of die. He picks up a 2-for-1. And you see right there, he picks up 2 great kills. He has a phenomenal kill per round so far in the entire event at 1.02, which is above his average at majors. He's having the tournament of his life.
What a time to have it. Let's see how they can handle this one. Guardians decided to go over to B site. You can see him lining up the shots. There's going to be the molly coming his way. They line up and he gets the double down. And Kenny and MBK both drop like stones as Flamey helps out. The support is coming from C's. Guardian does go down, but I don't think it really matters as Happy all alone, pushing around in a sad, sorry state. A delicious bit of play from Guardian for Na'Vi as they close it 6-4.
I'm really confused why they're not flashing that position. They know constantly Na'Vi are pushing up and going for the early peaks, going for some early kills, and yet they keep walking into it time and time again. You know, their most successful rounds have been towards A. Why don't they just commit to that?
And a bunch of the rounds that Na'Vi have tried to defend Banana aggressively, they put up that smoke atop Banana. It wasn't there this time. That should also be a sign that something is up for Envy. They should realize, wait a minute, there's no smoke here. So either they're holding all the way back in the bomb side, or there's something else going on. Right now, that means Envy are back to a somewhat shaky economy, but they really just prefer to keep buying, and why not? They're so good with the Tech-9s, they might as well just do it.
Well, that molly going down is about to clear, and the smokes are getting lined up here from Envy. It's going to be another burst through play. This is what works out well for them, going through with those Tech-9s, with those AKs. Oh, they've missed out on C's. C's lurking in the smoke, does manage to get himself one, but that is all it's going to be. Flamey and Library just hanging in the corner. They haven't spotted him yet, but he's completely flashed up. They're lining up for him. He gets himself a double, and that was all too easy. The lurking didn't work, but Happy in a 2-on-1 all alone, and actually it's a good position. The bomb's in his side. Flamey took it in there, but he finds him through the smoke. The tracer fire giving his position away. The bomb plant not quite going down. Oh my God, Happy, how did he find that shot? Just picking on the tracer fire through the smoke. And some huge plays from the in-game leader for Envy.
That should have never happened. Never happened. He shouldn't have got the first kill, but he definitely shouldn't have got the second one. It's ridiculous. And that's something that's going to shake Na'Vi. Now, I said Envy, if they get 5 or 6 rounds in this first half, they're going to be in a good position, and they're already at 5. Na'Vi, I understand why they make this force up. They got to make it work, but look at this Seized, pushing aggressively in middle. Are they going to see it coming? He misses the shot. Oh, and that's going to give it away. Kenny and NBK with the reply. Zeus tries to bring it back, but they just do not have the weapons for it. It's Flamey and Edward left. And look at Envy. Smart mid-round call here. Rotating back towards the bomb site, and Flamey going to be walking in Even if he finds Happy, it'll be too late. He's going to get a straight headshot. But how can they possibly retake this? There is still a smoke, a Molotov on the EnVy team, and the bomb is about to go down. No kit either on Na'Vi. Looks like we're about to tie the score here.
And this is such a crucial round between these teams too, because the rounds have been so back and forth this entire time. Neither team has got that stable economy. Na'Vi invested everything they had into that round. They will lose it, but luckily for them, they pick up the AK, they pick up the M4 to use into the next. But EnVyUs, you know, this constant aggression towards B, I really have to wonder, is it to kind of keep Na'Vi back, to stop them from pushing down and constantly flanking them? You talk about teams who, again, smoke down the bottom of Banana, it takes away a good portion of the map from you, so it forces you to go middle, forces you to go towards A, or go for that late hit towards B, and by kind of constantly pressuring them, they're not given that sense of ease to constantly push up that direction.
So, I mean, part of the key feature here is that if as a CT team you can control Banana, some of the time at least you'll be able to put just one person there and then leave 4 people in A. If you don't have Banana control, you're gonna most of the time end up having 2 people in B, and that means A is so much weaker. And EnVy have exploited that multiple times. Once they force Na'Vi back, they can go back and hit A and feel somewhat comfortable. There's only going to be 3 people there. If they still have 5 left, that's pretty good odds, especially when they're getting so many entry frags. Right now, Na'Vi, they're not going to rebuy the remaining members. They're going to rely on these 2 rifles to see if they can make it work. And so far, just a bit of a hold here. Grenade is a good one. Flamey playing by the car with the AK in hand, but he goes down to NBK, and that's going to leave a lot of trouble here for Edward. He's going to go aggressive anyway, misses a couple of shots, takes down one, but there are more coming, double headshot. He's trying to make it back, but he can't. Apex will drop him, and now it's a 3v3 again, but not equal odds.
They lost their guns too. They're both out of their hands. Zeus is going to be trying to pick up one from the backside, but they're going to go for the retake. They might as well.
Not going to work out. Happy's going to spray them down. Clever little try from Na'Vi. They did double stack the rifles in the right location, but as you pointed out, they weren't quite able to get that opener. Edward did try and rescue and salvage something from that round. They were saved weapons, so it does mean they can buy straight back up on this round. But EnVy now, with 7 rounds on the T side, have got to be starting to feel really confident here on Inferno.
And just look what they have. M4s, no real head armor, obviously you don't need against the AKs, but no utility really to back things up with. You talk about smokes on Inferno, you talk about slow play. Luckily for them, they're up against EnVyUs, who, like you said, Anders, don't like to play too slow, so you have to worry too much about the smokes. But everything you use has to be costly. You have to be effective with it, and efficient with it, most importantly. And it looks like EnVyUs are grouping up to head over towards the A side. Guardian is going to be over towards corner. And Edward's already successful in this position before. I wonder if they're going to expect it this time.
And this is going to be an execute towards Archway. This is what EnVy love doing. So smokes go up, and now they're going to try and see if they can run through. It's a lot of trouble for Guardian. He actually runs back, and half of EnVy split up. And look at that. Edward gets a kill, but he's flashed. He goes down, and NBK keeps rolling in. Zeus holding close to the truck. He's going to have to get a double here. And NBK's down. Guardian with a kill on Kiyoshima as well, is looking good. And that's a shot on Happy, leaving it all up to Kenny. And he's already clutched it once. This time, I think it's going to be quite a different matter. He woos out with the AK. Tries to challenge, great flashbang, but not going to be good enough, and that's going to tie the score in reverse, 7-7, and leading into the last round of the half.
Round so close. That was a great entry, picking up Edward, preventing him from picking up kills like he was able to in the prior rounds to help solidify another round for Na'Vi. But like I said, last round, where again, we haven't really seen the op too much at EnVyUs. Again, with their quick play, you wouldn't really expect it. There's no real need for it. You can just sit in the AKs, and Kenny's been doing a fantastic job for it. But when they swap to CT side, I'm curious to see who's going to pick up the mantle. Will it be Happy, or will it be Kenny S?
That little boost onto the balcony as well was really what helped out. Edward managing to get the vision over that smoke, but we're seeing once again it is another little speedy play from EnVy trying to stack out in mid. But Guardian and Zeus hold strong once again. This time Zeus actually going a little deeper, a little more aggressive in quad. But he's going to get smoked off. Guardian out of position. He's going to get gunned down in the back, and that's going to be easy. Let's see if they can make this play work a second time. Apex and Kenny S do get the kills, and it's going to be straight to B. Flamey lurking in the smoke behind the car, waiting for NBK. Oh, if only he pulled the trigger. He'd have them lined up, but Apex is almost around the back of them. Zeus is going to try and push up around the back, but NBK will catch them out. But that's Banana cleaned out. Now the bomb was down in Banana, that's a problem, and Flamey gets himself a double, lines it up. Kenny S in a one-on-one. Edward comes around, but how does he miss the shot? I don't know. Kenny S on just 1 hit point, still yet to collect that bomb, doesn't know able to get away with it. And Na'Vi, some clever defensive work, cut off by the smokes at CT Arch, make use of the mid.
That was a great start for the round 2 because we saw EnVyUs go for the deep smoke themselves, block them off towards car. At the same time, Na'Vi went for the deep smoke down Banana so they get that early control. So they kind of forced Flamey to sit back, but unfortunately it didn't really matter too much because it put him in the right position when the time counted.
There was some, I think, glaring signs of some miscommunication on Na'Vi multiple rounds here. That last round we just saw, Guardian was walking into middle, I think Zeus was on the other side. And instead of either both peeking together or both falling back to more defensive position, you can see that Guardian sort of changed his mind almost mid-push and got caught as he was rotating back to Archway, and that just can't happen. Envy, they caught him and killed him, and that was it. That could have definitely won the round. You see, that was what opened up the split into B. If the bomb hadn't been stuck out on Banana, probably would have been an 8th round for Envy, but still, let's not kid ourselves here. Envy are in a great position.
I mean, that would have been a round for EnVyUs if the man didn't push down middle behind them and catch them both off guard, allowing Flaming instead of fight on 2 different angles, he can just focus on CT side of Banana. So a great job by Na'Vi and a great read as well. I mean, there was a little bit of miscommunication like you're saying, but they still pull out their round. But 8-7, it's not necessarily the scoreline they're looking for here on CT side Inferno.
Just about the best half we could hope for, I think, in the first quarterfinals here. Question is, have Na'Vi got it in on the T side, because they've looked a little lackluster on T side throughout the tournament so far. Although in their defense, what they talked about was they struggled to hold against rushes, and it kind of showed there. Envy made use of that, and the retakes weren't strong, but we're expecting delayed, deliberate play from Na'Vi this time around. Expect to see that clock running very low.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing, absolutely. But Envy will know it, and I'm curious how they're going to react. Does it worry you guys at all that they got 7 rounds, which is a very, very good first half, and Kiyoshima's only on 2 kills? What happens if Kiyoshima gets put into play?
I mean, the thing about the team of EnVyUs is that anyone can carry the team at any given point. Kyo, he can be relatively quiet, but like you're saying, when he shows up, it's just a slaughter for EnVyUs. They will destroy you in any way. But you know, I want to see who's going to show up in this map. You know, maybe Kyo later on, maybe Mirage is going to be the map he really starts to shine, and maybe it's going to be Dust too.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Pistol underway. Second half. Na'Vi versus EnVyUs in the first of 3 maps to be played. MBK, man, holding the angle. Zeus is going to be looking towards him, and Guardian just gets his head popped straight away. Great open up for Envy.
Yeah, he saw that coming, MBK. Very clever angle to be holding there. They have got all armor and just the 1 kit on MBK, so no other utility, no one setting up for any kind of pop flash. Seized has the 1 smoke, and there's a double flashbang on Na'Vi, and they're going to need all of that to get back into this round. They've got armor on 3, so they can take some fights, and on Inferno, you're sort of medium close distance with the Glocks. If the CTs don't hit instant headshots, they're going to run out of bullets, and they're going to be overrun by Glocks. That's a very common sight. Apex putting out a tiny bit of damage and also spots them. At about 50 seconds left, Na'Vi still wondering exactly how they're going to set up for this one. They've cleared out middle, they've pushed Apex back, but where are they going to go with this?
Apex about to find Edward, gets himself the instant headshot. Zeus does push around though with Flamey, so they double up on him now. It's going to be a rotate straight through Arch. Happy actually got himself in a little position around CT spawn to just try and cut them off. He would have potentially heard the footsteps rotating. Kenny's going to run straight around and blindly into this, and Zeus will catch him out. Now Kiyoshima in pit, backed away in apartments, but Zeus finds another brilliant headshot, and he will get the plant down. Happy trying to delay the plant, gets himself 1, but Zeus gets the triple. And now MBK all alone with a kit to try and push up mid.
This is a very difficult task. At least he has the defuse kit, but bomb is already down, and he's going to go and check boiler room, look for the shot, but not going to get it. Seized will take him out, and it's down to the captain of Na'Vi to get a triple kill and win that. And that's a critical, I think actually sort of almost a must-win round if they want to have a chance of beating them on Inferno here. And let's remember, Na'Vi really don't want to end up on Dust 2. They almost need to close this out on the first 2 maps.
It's going to be difficult with a double op setup with Kennyus and Happy if they can afford it on that map. But Zeus leading both these teams in the highest pistol round rating at 1.36. You see right there, and it could have come at a more perfect time.
Look at this. Envy, they are not afraid. They're going to go for armor, pistol, and smoke. And this is an attempt to try and force Na'Vi to make a couple of mistakes. And it might not seem like it's a lot, but these smokes go down. Sometimes on the terrorist side, you end up pushing through them because you think you're out of time, or you think that the other team is setting up something special for you. You just make a couple of mistakes, and that's all it takes.
For a moment, I thought we were going to see a 4-stack from Envy over on A side. They did start that way. Kennyus actually has been drawn over, so Happy's clearly seen something to give that situation away. Edward and Flamey getting this little vision at the top of mid, but it's B side where the bomb is heading. MBK and Happy holding the angle, holding the line, and they've got 5-7s, as you pointed out, in the CZs, and they can do damage if they get up close, which is exactly what MBK is planning.
Look at this, 45 seconds, both smokes still in B. This is why Envy are so good on this map. Fnatic 2, they keep these smokes forever and ever, but there's gonna be a split coming up. Na'Vi make sure that they don't have to go through that choke, brilliant style. And well, Kenny, he's still in CT spawn, might have a lot of trouble. Him and Apex, the only two left, and they are all gonna get shot down. And that's very, very smart. If Envy keep those two smokes at about 40 seconds, that means they can essentially run down the whole clock. There's no way they can get in. But if they push through Arch and go through CT spawn, then those two smokes won't do anything. Very, very clever play. Yeah, it's a big commitment, a good read out of EnVyUs. But unfortunately, you know, if you don't use the smokes, they're really not worth much, especially when they just kind of walk through. But a great read on the timing as well to Na'Vi. And now it's going to be EnVyUs a little bit behind.
All right, so that was going to force Envy back onto an eco. They did force that last round. And now Na'Vi, of course, didn't lose a single thing there, which means they're going to be stacked out coming into this round. They're going to keep hold of those Glils and the UMP. No reason to push for the AKs yet. No reason to spend that extra money because you know your opponents have next to nothing.
And considering that they bought in the round just prior, forcing things up, EnVyUs aren't going to be able to afford the op into the next round. So Kenny's and Happy won't be able to use that gun. And you can see Na'Vi again playing it slow, but there's a 4-man stack. So you can see it's a great read out of Na'Vi to be prepared for this and not rush like we saw EnVyUs do up against Ecos. And because they still have Edward with the UMP, they should be able to check for the stack. I mean, he's not going to save this gun for the upcoming round anyway, so just use him as sort of a scout. If he goes down and you give them a UMP, it's really not that bad of a thing. But if you run in and give them a couple of AKs, that's much worse. So that's almost what they're doing right now. Na'Vi are at this bomb site. They're actually walking into a trap. Oh no, Zeus has already been dinged up. Na'Vi, they're going to keep going, jumping up here, and Guardian gets a kill. Very important, but now, can they actually do it? Kyoshima alone, and the whole stack falls apart. Envy, they get nothing from it, and Na'Vi, they're going to be very excited about that. That's a bit of a confidence boost. I mean, you're not really going to expect too much off that, but you did stack 4 people there, so maybe a couple of kills would have been nice. Maybe at least get 1 AK out of the hands of the side of Na'Vi, but here we go, able to upgrade onward into the AK. And again, we're not going to see EnVyUs on the op, and I think that's where they really start to excel. Happy played very JWS, likes to be really aggressive in towards apartments and towards the middle to really get that early information, especially when they know Na'Vi plays so slow.
Still, not a great deal for Envy, even though they have bought up. You can see just the 3 flashes and 3 smokes across the team, which is not what you want as a CT. And that's why you can see this Banana unsmoked so far. There we go. First one goes down. He's Happy that tosses it out to try and slow it down, but it's still a big stack from Na'Vi. They're gonna try and flash through it. It's just gonna be nades going towards Happy, and he actually landed pretty well.
But we're already seeing the contradicting styles of how to hold this B side out of EnVyUs and Na'Vi. EnVyUs more than happy to sit back towards site, use these smokes to drag out the rounds so they know how Na'Vi are going to be playing this. But it looks like they might want to start to push in with this smoke, or at least bait out another, since they know EnVyUs doesn't have a lot of smokes to work with just off those last rounds.
Well, there's still one left on MBK. It's about to be put down, so now we have plenty of time. Looks like they're going to try and firebomb out this B bomb site. A very cool strategy, which means Envy are not going to be able to basically occupy half the bomb site. Here comes the Molotovs, 45 seconds, and Na'Vi, are they going to commit to? There's a 3rd man rotating in. It seems like they will. MBK spraying, he's missing a lot here. He goes down to Zeus, and this is a great opening. If Envy lose this round, it might mean a lot of trouble for them. Kenny with a good spray through the smoke, but Bomb is going down behind that fountain, and Kenny pushing through a bit too soon. No backup from his teammates. Flamey taking an Apex there, trickling in one at a time. Envy, where's the teamwork? Flamey to take down Kyoshima. That was a great execution from Na'Vi, but it was followed up by a lack of coordination from Envy, and that is definitely what made the difference.
You called it perfectly. Kenny, as he went in, I think 1 or 2 seconds early, he had Apex right behind him, ready to commit with him to go in with that flashbang. But unfortunately, he goes in by himself. They die 1 by 1, and EnVyUs, that was a gun round that they could have pulled off.
Zeus and C is having a fantastic game so far. Zeus, the leader, leading from the front. Obviously, we saw Guardian having to step up against Fnatic, but it wasn't the case. MBK shows the angle, but he shows a little too much to seize there as he takes his head off through the wall, and Happy likewise will be dropped, and that's just carved everything wide open. They're not interested in the bomb, they want the kills, they're going on the hunt.
3v5 at the moment, armor on Apex, and that's about it. Now we have won both pistol rounds in either half, and this is usually an indication that you're about to be winning a map. You get so much out of them. And unlike a lot of teams, they haven't given up the following rounds to Envy. They've actually collected the following 2 rounds every time. And this time, even the 4th one, which is the next crucial one. So they're just stacking it up here, Na'Vi. This is going to be a tough fight for EnVy now. We're at 13-7, or about to be. And EnVy, they've got to come up with something big now.
The thing is, most of these hits have come in on the B side out of Navi. Out of both teams, funny enough, they've been committing to the site constantly. And you look back at the gunner that EnVyUs just had. If NBK connected a couple more bullets, it would have slowed them down enough that his teammates would have been able to rotate in and they could have been able to hold on to it. But it's a little bit unfortunate for them.
Now, I've been raving about Edward for a while, and where he really has his impact, in my opinion, on this map is opening up with entry frags in the middle. So I want to see what happens if EnVy try and keep middle and go maybe not aggressive, but at least just try and stay there. I want to see what happens if Edward gets close.
Kenny's got the AWP. He's going to go for the peak. Doesn't line anything up, though. It is a fast dash up second mid for Na'Vi. And they may be going to try and switch things up here. Apex is holding out at balcony at the moment. But look at them. Look at the speed. Flamey's about to go through balcony. Kiyoshima's ready and waiting. But they are already through on towards site. This is such a quick bit of play from Na'Vi. Something they're maybe trying to catch EnVy off guard on. But it hasn't happened. And Apex lines himself up a couple of railgun type shots with that M4. And that attack quickened of the pace. Maybe caught Na'Vi off guard themselves because they just ran headlong into the bullets of EnVy.
Thing is, that was a great job by Apex as well, because he knew Q was being shot trying to throw the Molotov into the apartments, but he peeks out just a centimeter enough, helps pick up a kill, helps keep Kiyoshiima alive so they can stop that push with 2 people instead of just 1 and make that round go for themselves.
That was a great idea. Going that aggressive in apartments is very uncommon, so there's a really good chance that EnVy either won't have enough people in the area, or even if they are, they won't be expecting it just yet. So what was weird was, once the first guy goes down up in apartments, Edward behind him stops, and that means the other 3 people who are running in on quad, they don't have any backup anymore. So then the split that they do is actually mistimed. Na'Vi just missing the communication a bit there.
Edward not wanting to be a burden on his team right now. He's actually at the bottom of the board in only 9 kills. He's got 5k in the bank, but everybody else, they're hitting triple figures, or 5 figures technically, but you know what I mean. They've got 10k plus in the bank. So Edward, even though, you know, they've won, like, as he said, like 5-6 rounds running here on the T side, doesn't want to hamper any of his teammates, just going to hold on to that AK as everybody else got massacred. Happy is trying to find him, but Edward will keep hold of that AK. So EnVy finally get themselves their first CT round on the board, and they had to because it was a massive investment. Kenny S with the AWP now able to afford just about everything in there. 13-8 Na'Vi, just 3 rounds is all they require after a great T-side start, but you've got to feel EnVy maybe, just maybe, got a handle on the game there.
Oh, definitely. You also have to have some appreciation for the fact that Na'Vi choose that buy round to go really, really fast, which is not what they normally do. So they're really trying to mind game EnVy and make sure that they're not too predictable. EnVy just managed to handle the situation really well. This time it was 5 Molotovs on Na'Vi, and they've just thrown 1 of them, so plenty of equipment. We already saw they execute towards B once, and they had success there. It's not unreasonable that they might try and go back eventually. Yeah, 5 Molotovs on EnVy, then you have 4 on EnVy, or on Na'Vi, I believe, as well. So it's really a difficult kind of thing to work against. You can be cleared from so different angles. But again, Kenny, he's been challenged position in quite a few of their games so far. Did against Flipside, actually, where they won 16-3. But Na'Vi looking to slow down the pace, looking to hit towards B yet again. And with those Molotovs, like we saw before, just burning out the site completely, putting them into angles where they could hit shots. And we saw MBK, he wasn't that comfortable backing towards dark in that corner, where he just couldn't hit the shots, and it cost him the round.
47 seconds on the clock, and MBK still has his smoke to lay down over on Banana, and but they're going to flash on through. Flamey and Guardian are going to lead the charge. Happy going to get around the angle. MBK, let's see what it can do in the corner. Happy has gone down, so he's now all alone, but he's already been tagged up. That molly's going to burn him down. Oh, he extinguishes it with 1 hit point, but Siege just comes in and finishes the job. Kenny lines himself up 1. He sees he's got sights on the second around the back. It's seized. Zeus with the bomb hasn't been able to get in sight. He's making tracks. He's running down Banana. He's getting out of there. EnVy have been caught napping. Zeus is making a run for A site. They're completely out of position.
And he can make it. There's just enough time. It's about 17 seconds from top Banana into B. You can definitely do it. He's got the time for it here. Now the question is, can he clutch it subsequently? Because they'll make it there with plenty of time to defuse the bomb. He's going to have to play this one very cleverly. And look at what they've got. 2 smokes, 1 Molotov as well. They can zone him out, so he's going to have to hit some headshots before they even put those grenades up. And there's the first one, taking down Kenny. Now they know where he is, so he tries to adjust. Look at Zeus. He's playing a very deep game here. He's got years of experience, but they're already going to be on that bomb. Molotov in smoke, got there, holding it down. Zeus, he's going to have to move. He pushes out of the bomb. Oh, Apex there. The buddy system in play, and it's going to be the triple here. Very, very good round from EnVy, but you can tell that Zeus, he was setting up for it.
He felt the moment there, but that was such a great hold by EnVyUs. Happy coming in with a fantastic flash to blind them as they're walking through and forcing them to go through the fire. Again, NBK staying alive in the back of site, committing an extra man there, so Happy could back him up as well as Apex over towards the site, get a nice kill onto that lurk.
Some tight play there from Na'Vi, but Envy do hold out. Losing those rifles on the way. Kenny S lining up his shot, but no challenge from Na'Vi this time around. Guardian seized once again, looking to see if NBK are happy, are going to go aggressive, but they're happy to sit pretty passive over on the B site. Just lay down that smoke and sit back, give control of Banana completely to Na'Vi. I'll see if they can make use of it. Long time on these smokes still.
Yeah, and the thing what this does is it commits a lot of your smokes from the A site there as well. So when we see an execute onto the A site, you can't really counter smoke them off to prevent them from getting into the angles that they do want to have. So it's a little bit dangerous for EnVyUs, but they really want to lock down full control of that B site. But you can already see Na'Vi on your minimap grouping up toward this direction. But with 50 seconds to go, there's no need to commit to it. They can fake it out, and they're already luring Kenny S towards the B site.
And look at this aggression coming out here into the apartments for the CT side. Just Kiyoshima checking it, and this is going to give them a lot of information. Na'Vi, you can tell they're setting up on the other side, but they're being found out slowly. If they waste too much time, look at Envy. They're making the rotation. A third guy coming in. They know what's up. They can smell it. Molotovs as well coming in. The gasoline. Happy's not going to get hit by it. Kenny hits a shot. NBK hits a shot, and there it is. They're shutting down Na'Vi. No chance at all here. 2v3, and Guardian is now going to be alone. Spray for the smokers. Apex picks up a double kill, and that's a huge round. Let's just remind everyone that if Envy lose this round, at most they would have had 2 people who could buy M4s, and maybe a third one would have from us, but that would have been almost map point here for Na'Vi if they win that round.
The thing is, Na'Vi, they're running out of economy. They picked up so many rounds straight off the back of the pistol round, but they're starting to run out of that money. You can see Guardian on 0 sitting there with the op.
Well, I mean,
they're getting there. I mean, they're losing rounds consecutively.
Yeah, they've lost 3 rounds, so it's going to
but
start to kick in. Kenny S is actually going to line himself up a shot, but quickly had to back away. You can see 2 of them dropping in. Guardian was so close there, actually. Kenny, I don't think he realized it, just how close Guardian is. Kenny's holding the angle. Guardian's looking the opposite side. Not going to peek towards it. Edward and Flamey in apartments. Kiyoshima holding balcony, so they're set up very well. Are we going to see the first Kenny and Guardian duel? It doesn't look like anyone wants to challenge this. Kenny's going to go for it. Kenny's going to go for it, but the flash game back and forward. The shot doesn't land, and that's going to be a molly to slow things down.
Still about a minute left on the clock here, and that means they at least know they forced Kenny back, and they know where he is, but Apex going to be able to kill up in the apartments. It's Flamey going down, and a really good opening. Now, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Na'Vi. They need that refrag, otherwise they're going to be in a very tough position. Kenny moving in, nice shot on Guardian, goes for a second one, going to miss it, goes back with Zeus is there, just catching the edge of him. So now it's a 4v3, 35 seconds, headshot from Zeus, takes down Apex. Kiyoshima spraying and missing, and he goes down to Edward, and it's back into a 2v2. But who's sneaking around the corner? It's Happy, and they don't know he's here just yet. So NBK, if he makes a bit of noise, then Happy might be able to sneak in from the side. They've got a bit of a weird setup, Na'Vi, but the bomb is ticking inside the site. Seized holding on the bomb site, and Edward coming up from behind. Perfect timing to drop Happy. And that means it's going to be all on NBK. He's sneaking in, checking every corner. Finds Seized, takes him out. He's got nothing left, no smoke or anything. He's going to hold it down. Underhand throws the flashbang. 2, 1 second. Edward with the ball. NBK's going to defuse in the fire. And Envy, they keep their hopes alive. What a clutch from NBK.
That should not have happened. Edward had such a great read on that round 2, going into Boiler, picking up the kill into Happy, but he couldn't see the bomb from his position. He was forced to check it, and he was just too late. A great job, NBK, to pull that round off.
What a fantastic flash timing as well. Oh my God, how good are these players? 13-11, Na'Vi. They're going to be feeling a little aggrieved by that one. Happy actually going a little aggressive this time, getting up to Car. Hasn't done this for a while, but that molly will force him right back on 27 health, and got absolutely nothing for his troubles. And it's back over towards A site. See if Envy can hold off the angles.
Just to point this out, because I have a sneaky suspicion we might have a couple of newcomers at least. It's one of the sort of mechanical features of the game that if you prime the grenade before you start the defuse and then tab the defuse, you can let go of the grenade. You otherwise can't throw it. So it's sort of a trick that NBK was pulling there, and it's very, very cool. It was also partly down to the fact that Na'Vi had put the bomb down, like you guys were saying, behind that box there. So a combination of a couple of things there, but it looks like Na'Vi are about to set up for it here. Apex Yeah, up in Graveyard and down in the pit, it's going to be Kiyoshima, and look, they're going to speed up behind it here. 40 seconds left. Na'Vi, they should go right about now. They know there's no one in the archway. The fact that they're slowing down is going to be a big problem for them. Although seized, he heard someone running in, but it's a double kill. And Apex tuning in as well. This is going to be all Envy. They just destroy Na'Vi. And this is one of those cases where the lack of speed really comes back to haunt them.
And that little sound means that Na'Vi have called for a pause. Will it be the famous pause? That's the question, because they have managed to pick up rounds after these. It is going to give them... Well, money-wise, they can afford to buy. Guardian's actually already bought. That's why he's down to 1,000. So they have enough money to invest in this one.
They do have that because of the 2 bomb plants they were to pull off in the prior rounds. They're able to keep that economy going, able to pick up quite a few kills as well, and just keep the bank rolling. The problem is now is that they've been hitting the A site, they've been getting shut down. They've been hitting B, and Apex and Kiyoshima have been pushing apartments on them constantly, just trying to gather information. And EnVyUs have such a perfect read on the way Na'Vi are playing this one, I want to say. With you seeing Happy in the B site, we've seen the constant firebombing onto Nubox, trying to prevent them from using that location, forcing NBK back towards Dark. But the one time they don't, Happy's there in Nubox and picks a couple of kills, and they have a great crossfire coming in.
I would love to see Na'Vi try and execute the round that they actually did earlier, which was the very aggressive apartments play. They did it in the 5th round, I think.
The push
second half. Yeah, the push apartments that sort of ended up being mistimed. But that was a timing issue. It doesn't mean the strategy itself is bad. I think you can definitely catch Envy off guard, especially because what must be obvious by now to Na'Vi is that there's always going to be 2 people in the beginning on B, and a 3rd player on Archway will put down a smoke for B. That means you know mostly in the beginning of the round how 3 of the Envy players are going to be stacked. So if one of them is playing quad and one is in pit, if you come out of apartments with 3 players, that's going to be a very tough hold for Envy.
I like how you point that out too, because the one round we did see him do it, you saw Kiyoshima with the Molotov ready to throw just to hold them back, and he fluffed it because he did not expect that many people to be around the corner already shooting at him.
Something we haven't seen yet from Envy is actually triple stacking at B side. We've not seen Kenny go over there once, which is something he used to do fairly regularly with Titan.
He went there last round, but he switched with Happy because Happy was on low life because he got naded and Molotov back. So he's been there once, but you're right, they haven't triple stacked it out. And it seems like NBK has gotten his confidence back with that great clutch he pulled off 1v2.
So what are Na'Vi going to bring to the table after that pause? What have they got in their bag of tricks? Zeus handing out the instructions. Seemed like cool, calm, collected communications going on. Everybody on the same page. Guardian unusually trying to creep around from Boiler with the AWP, trying to scope up, look at anyone from quad, but it is a passive hold from EnVyUs. Kenny, Apex, both on site with Kyo down in pit. They're going to try and line up the shots, flash themselves around there and get a peek around the corner, but Guardian will try and open things up, and Apex quickly responds.
Yeah, down in the pit, it's going to be Kiyoshima, and this is not a good position to be in, not when that many people are coming over at Archway as well. There's a bit of a fight, and Happy takes down Zeus. So he gets a bit of backup here and actually turns into a favorable position for EnVyUs. They're in a 2v3. Kiyoshima jumping down in the pit. Can he find the kill? He gets one spray. He's not going to quite get it. And now it's all on the shoulders of Flamey. This could tie the score, and Envy, they would be on a fast track to win this map in spite of a huge deficit. Flamey, the youngest player on the team, not that much experience compared to the West. He's going to have to go huge here. Doesn't put down the bomb just yet. He wants to turn it into a 1v1, and that is a smart play. He sees MBK, goes for it, but he's going to get shot down. Instant headshot.
And that round was off the back of Apex. They staggered their entrance into that A site because he threw a Molotov into apartments so they couldn't get Flamey out of apartments at the same time. They were pushing up quad with, I think it was Edward and Guardian, and it just kind of staggered them so they couldn't get the execute they wanted to, and they're able to shut them off.
We were praising Envy when they were on the terrorist side for really speeding up behind any engagement. They see they get a kill, even if it's a trade, even if it's an unfavorable trade, they keep going. Now we do the opposite. They get an initial engagement, they trade, and they slow down, which gives so much time for Envy to get into position, and that's what's breaking them right now, especially on that A-bomb side.
It's looking like a quickened up pace from Na'Vi this time around. Are they going to try a fast apartment rush again? It didn't really work out for them, and it was Apex and Kyo that completely shut that down. This time, Kenny, he's holding the boiler angle, and Guardian is ready to come around that corner. The flash has to be on point. He's backed away to Arch, so it's going to give them a little bit of control there, but you can see Kyo and Apex. They're going to be the vital ones. Apex gets the opener. Kyo lines them up, gets a railgun accuracy down on towards another. Apex and Kenny doing their work, and just like before, it's left to C's to try and pull something out here. Kenny will close out the round. It's 14-13. EnVyUs in the lead with just 2 rounds to go on the map.
That teamwork out of Apex and Keo has been phenomenal. I mean, they played on a team together, Clan Mystic, back in DreamHack Winter 2013. So they kind of brought that back, that synergy of the team into this. And the hold from Pit and Apex inside, they finally changed things up. They were kind of doing a 2-man hold towards Pit originally, but they rotate Apex out, so it's a great angle to cover Keo off the apartment so he can cover short.
It's just very impressive at the moment. I think it's 7 rounds in a row that EnVy have won to now take the round lead, and Na'Vi, they're back to Tech9's armor, and if this can't make them speed up, if they're going to try and play slow with Tech9 armor, I don't know what's what anymore. That's like that's what you want to be, just running and gunning. That's what the gun is supposed to do.
We're seeing Apex actually on short. This time he's not going to be playing from pit or from sight, changing things up, trying to catch him off guard.
He's holding the angle, but I think EnVy realize that something's up here. They realize it's probably not going to be an A hit. We see that Zeus and Seized. Oh, look at that, it's clever. They went for the heavy footprints, threw out a couple of fakes, and quickly rotate back around. Bomb's still not really in place. Seized has just collected that from the pit. Na'Vi running the clock down, 50 seconds and counting. But there's still a lot of mollies on EnVyUs to slow this play down.
They're going to go for an arch push here. Kenny, if he misses a shot, they're going to chase him down. He's going to fall back quick, and that's a smart play. Otherwise, they were going to come for him. They do just slow themselves again here, Na'Vi, and I'm not a big fan of it. About 30 seconds left, and EnVy, again, they're rotating people, and they've got 4 at the A-bomb side. Kenny going to pick up the first kill. They're coming for him, but Apex is there to hold on as well. A double kill, headshots, and it's going to be up to Zeus now, last man alone. And Happy takes him down. I understand the play, but they need more speed, Na'Vi.
It gave, like you're saying, Kenny has way too much time to rotate towards his library. And because they weren't able to rush him down, he picks up one, he stalls, delays even longer, and allows for Apex and Keo to really step up and Happy to close out the round. I mean, Na'Vi, they need to do something different in this round. The B set, they've left it alone for the majority of the time. Maybe it's time to go back for that. And with 4 Molotovs on them, I would expect that's the direction they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's molly was obviously tossed out there to slow the play down, but like you say, I think they just had to push through it. They had to go for it. They had to try and get in there. But as it was, Na'Vi now find themselves staring at 2 match points for EnVy. Can they try and drag this screaming and kicking to overtime? Because since EnVy picked up that round, they've gone on a tear. 8 rounds back to back. And just one more is all they need. Guardian and Edward once again trying to get the little peek out, but it's this double team, Keo and Apex on balcony, that's caused so many problems for Na'Vi. They've just not been able to get A side open.
They need to win this fight. They need a good, strong entry frag here in Na'Vi. I feel like we deserve a bit of overtime here to kick it off in Lancers. That would be a very good start indeed. And if they push B right now, they might definitely be able to do it. In CT spawn, it's going to be Happy, but back up side, it's NBK, and he's actually had not that much fortune back here. He's going to spray, still flash, they're coming on through, and can they get the kills in? Happy in the smoke, he's confused, and NBK spraying. Apex goes down, Happy with a refrag. They're really softened up on Na'Vi's side. NBK's got a chance, he's going to get it. Happy with a double, and that's going to seal it. 16-13, and EnVy, they take the first map here at the quarterfinals on Inferno.
What a way to start things off here. Absolutely fantastic. And you can see the pressure. They know what it means. They know Mirage is next. They know that Na'Vi potentially can take that map. But with the fact that Dust 2 looms as the 3rd map, they realize that was a very big chance for Na'Vi to get themselves in it. They started off so well on the T side, but once EnVy picked up that singular round, which they forced into, they just invested everything they could. It just non-stop. It went back to back, 9 rounds on the beat. That is how you win a game.
And you know, coming into Mirage next, I think this could be, I mean, it's obviously a map favored for Na'Vi, but you have to look at the whole boot camp situation. Is this a map that they practice knowing that was one of their weaker ones? And with a double up setup potentially coming with Kenny S and Happy, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, we'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, the NVIDIA experts will take you through that game.